What is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to my 1 year later experience with the Samsung Galaxy Note 9. Now, this phone right here has been really a joy to use over the year, and I want to explain to you where it stands now, though. With the Note 10 coming in just a couple of days here, it's not that far away, and the Note 10 Plus coming. It's going to be a head scratcher. Should you upgrade or should you just keep this phone? Or if you're considering buying one, should you buy a secondhand Note or should you get the new one? We'll be talking about that more. 1 year later with this phone right here, let's talk about the design, the build, and the quality, how it's held up. Now for me, because I'm constantly putting the phone on the table and stuff, I got a few scratches on the back of this phone right here. In addition to that, I don't know how I got this one up here, but I got some scratches in the housing, or it's just kind of wearing off right there and kind of right there on the phone. Other than that, up at the top, I do have a little bit of a scratch here on the SIM card tray, but the aluminum itself has held up very well around the edges of this phone. You can see over my year using it. I kind of just slammed it on the table right now, but I knew it was going to be fine because this aluminum around the edges of this was very strong. So I really thought that it held up very well. Unfortunately, when I first got this phone, I actually damaged the screen immediately. I dropped it face down, no screen protector. And I actually got a screen replacement, not because of that reason. Samsung wouldn't fix it because it was my fault, but the screen actually burned in. So luckily the screen burned in, so I was able to get a screen replacement for an already damaged screen. Now, I wouldn't want your screen to burn in if you didn't have scratches, but it played out for me pretty well. However, I would say that that wasn't nice that it did burn in. So let me know if you guys got burn-in issues. And also the fact that I didn't have a screen protector was mostly because I just gave up putting on screen protectors on this phone because of the curved edges. Now they are more subtle than the curved edges on a Samsung Galaxy S series, but at the same time, they still are hard to stick down, a lot of them on this phone. So if you found one that's really good and easy to put on, go ahead and share that with the community down below. Like the brand that you use to put on your screen protectors for curved screen devices, that would be very helpful. And I'm curious to know if you found any that worked very well for the Note 9. So the design overall, to make it a long story short, practical, utilitarian, functional, not super flashy, very businessy though, and a very wide display for going ahead and writing, drawing on here, maybe cutting out a screen select for a screenshot, viewing articles, watching media. The Galaxy Note 9's display was just very good for that purpose. But the overall design with the bezels are starting to look a little bit old, look a little bit more like the Note 8, look a little bit a couple years ago compared to a lot of these phones that are launching, like the OnePlus 7 Pro. You even got phones like its own Galaxy S10 Plus, Samsung's own. So the Note 10 definitely going to be shrinking down the bezels, giving you a hole in the display, which I'm not very excited about, but still it's going to shrink down the bezels. The Note 9 right now, to me, just a very practical design. It doesn't look super flashy, anything like that. So that's my overall take on the design of this phone at this point. So 1 year later with the display of the Galaxy Note 9, one thing I really enjoyed about this display was that it had a lot of modes, just like the other Samsung displays, but having the ability to take this from a very saturated display in the adaptive mode down to the basic, which basically turns it into a basic looking panel in terms of display, it was very fun and very useful. At the same time, I also like that this phone had a very high resolution. It's also changeable. We have WQHD Plus here on the device, but I can always say one thing about the Note 9. It always had a display that was very fun to enjoy content when. If we go to YouTube here, we never had anything obtruding into the display because there's no notch, there's no holes, nothing like that. So it's just a full viewing experience on here. Now it is that 18:9 style aspect ratio. So when you go ahead and watch a video, you're gonna have to go ahead and put the thing out in the zoom mode to get the full content right there. That's been the case for a while now on phones, but I mean, just look at this. No obtrusion, just a very fun and enjoyable viewing experience. Now, in addition to that, I gotta say that there was plenty of room on this display to go ahead and do things like multitasking. And if you bring the DPI down, there's a ton more room for things like putting an application here, putting a little pop view application there. In addition to that, browsing the web on this phone was also very fun. So you have plenty of space to go ahead and read things, but also really sharp text, very vibrant colors. So browsing the web, just fantastic. Now, when they brought the One UI, they also brought the night mode to this phone, making it enjoyable to use at night. So all around, this display is just a king. It's an amazing display, and I've had no issues with the Note 9's display. Very accurate with the S Pen as well. And after a year, I think that even with the Note 10 coming out, this is going to be a very good display even then. That phone's going to have a little bit more accurate colors, but overall, this is still going to be a very saturated, bright, beautiful display on the Note 9. And that brings me on to performance with the Galaxy Note 9. You've seen it time and time again on my channel. The Galaxy Note 9 in speed test done very well. It has a Snapdragon 845. This phone also has Android 9 Pie. Should be getting Android Q as well. I would not doubt it for this phone. In addition to that, with the 8 gigabytes of RAM that I got on this model, they have a 6 gig of RAM version as well. Never had any issues with the multitasking, and the storage was very fast as well, so transferring storage. So overall, just a performance champ. No lag in my whole year using this phone. I think it restarted one time maybe, but other than that, very good, because most Samsung phones in the past would kind of have some lag, but this phone, no lag whatsoever. Now, it doesn't have no 90 hertz display, 120 hertz display, so it doesn't look the smoothest by comparison to maybe the ROG Phone 2 or the Razer Phone 2 or even the OnePlus 7 Pro or any of those phones that have those higher hertz displays. So keep that in mind. It doesn't have that buttery smooth feel like those, but it's still a smooth and fast performer. It's very competent, and for its intended purposes, you'll be fine with the performance on the Galaxy Note 9. So 1 year later with the camera on the Galaxy Note 9, dual 12 megapixel and 4K 60p recording. You can see live focus, pro mode, panorama, video, super slow-mo, slow motion, hyperlapse, and this is the software update from the One UI, by the way. If you're not on it, that's why it might look different from yours if you haven't updated. 4:3 aspect ratios, you can go full 1:1, 9:16. Settings, we got Scene Optimizer that kind of tries to predict what you're taking a photo of and optimizes the way the photo is going to look. Flaw detection, rear picture sizes up to the 12 megapixel. You can go 6.2 megapixel here. There's a lot you can do. I mean, it could be either a simple camera by just staying right here and just doing everything on auto, or it can be more complex camera. I don't like that they took out the pro video mode, which is pretty annoying on all these Samsung phones lately, but we don't have no ultra wide angle, so you have to rely on the standard angle lens. You could pull this shutter key out to make it a little bit easier to use. The burst mode was pretty quick on this phone, as it is with most phones these days. You have some nice filter modes up here. You can do beauty modes. The front-facing camera, a little bit soft by comparison to the new Galaxy S10 series, and it doesn't do 4K. The dual pixel AF was super fast. You get the picture. This camera is loaded with the stuff. But the results themselves, I think, were very good, but they were outdone by other phones like the Pixel 3 XL, for example, and the video quality was outdone, I feel, by like the iPhone, for example. So this phone never was a master of anything to me. It was a very good camera in all categories, and not enough for anybody to not choose the Note 9. It was up there, but still the Galaxy S10 Plus is better in the camera. I feel like the Pixel 3 XL, as the Pixel 4, is also going to be better in the camera, probably even better than the Note 10's camera. So, I mean, Note series, not to me the best camera out there, but still very good. Good dynamic range updates with this one when you take photos, good saturation, softer photos if you don't like that, you know, ultra detailed, could see every pore in your skin type of photo. Other than that, thumbs up on the camera. It wasn't bad at all. It was definitely very good. It wasn't better than some other phones, but still not enough for me to say I'm not using the Note 9 today. And that brings me on to the audio performance.
I talked about what to expect. I can't really give you my take on One UI just yet. I'm sure it's smoother. I'm sure.
This was before the One UI, that video we're showing here.
I have seen photos of it, and I have seen a couple videos.
You can see that I can cover it up and we could still hear, because it's dual speakers on here. Dolby Atmos. In addition, AKG headphones came with this phone in the box. Also right here, we do have a nice headphone jack, something we're probably not seeing. More than likely, it's pretty much confirmed already at this point on the Galaxy Note 10. So very disappointing there for people who wanted that. You might have to go with any of the S10 models. That's S10e, S10 Plus, or S10 if you really want that feature. Audio on the whole for the Note 9, thumbs up, no complaints. We really didn't need to see any improvements here. It was pretty good across the board. And here we are at the battery section. One of the heaviest marketed features on the Galaxy Note 9 is the all-day battery life, and that it is. It's all day on this phone. Never had this phone die one time, and I never finished a day with less than 30% on the Galaxy Note 9. Actually, never less than 40 most of the time. So this phone is easily an all-day phone, and it still is. The battery's held up very well. I think the S10 Plus is a little bit better in battery life than this phone. Slightly, I'm getting maybe an hour more on that phone. So they have improved, and it's going to get even better with the Galaxy Note 10, I'm sure. But the Galaxy Note 9 was incredible on battery life. Huge improvement over the Note 8, and makes it an easy upgrade over that phone if you care tons about battery life. And 1 year later with the S Pen, I would like to see Samsung make this S Pen a little bit higher quality, as this kind of feels a little cheap how this thing wiggles around. Just doesn't look super high quality. But other than that, the S Pen is a very functional tool for this phone. Creating notes, Smart Select, you can populate this with your own shortcuts however you would like with the S Pen. So it's a very practical tool, and I found myself writing notes. I got a goal set right here for 66 days to complete by October, and I wrote that down with the S Pen. Now, I find that a lot of things, just jotting down notes is equally easy just typing it on another phone that doesn't have an S Pen, but where the S Pen shines is things like Smart Select, where you can go ahead and just crop out things and share them off. That's very useful and very easy to be precise. In addition, it also shines when you're trying to click on links in a browser or something and it's too small. You got to keep pinching and zooming on some other phones. On this phone, it's a lot easier to just precisely pinpoint that thing. And if you're doing editing, like editing a photo or something on this phone, it's very easy to precisely cut out what you are editing and things like that. In addition, video editing, if you do that on your phone. So the S Pen has this niche audience, its niche uses, but I found that the S Pen remote wasn't that useful to me. This whole thing about you can take a picture with the phone. I used this like when I first got it like 3 times. Other than that, I never used it again. I kind of forgot it was there. I just didn't remember to use that extra feature. It's just an extra thing there. You might have used it, but I didn't use it that much. I wouldn't say get rid of it. It's always nice to have that feature there if you do need it, but I didn't find myself using it that much. On the whole, I use this S Pen like I use the S Pen on every other Note before it, mostly to jot down notes, to cut things out, and to share things, precisely scroll, stuff like that. Just like I did with the Note 8, just like I did with the Note 5. So overall, S Pen, very good. I did like the signature yellow S Pen to go with this blue though. That was a very nice touch. Okay guys, so in conclusion, the Note 9 after 1 year, it's pretty obvious that I'm going to be switching because I got to review this next Note 10. It's going to be very fun to review, but the main reason why I would like to upgrade to that phone is the triple camera, but I could see why a lot of people wouldn't upgrade to this next phone. If you don't need an ultra wide angle, you don't need the triple camera. The Note 10 doesn't seem like it's bringing much of anything that can convince Note 9 users, as this phone is a well-rounded package. Yes, it might have a little more accurate dynamic AMOLED display. It might have a little bit better battery life. It's probably going to have more storage options. It's going to look pretty with its shrunken down bezels, but that doesn't make this phone weak or, you know, just dismissed by any means. This phone has pretty much everything in the kitchen sink. This phone is the full package. Headphone jack, S Pen, high resolution display, no notch, no cutout, dual speakers, really high storage capacity. This is the 512 gigabyte, very good performance, very good cameras on both front and rear. You couldn't ask for no more. IP68 dust and water resistance, Bluetooth 5.0. This phone is loaded, and after a year using it, you can see throughout this video, I didn't have much complaints about it. That's my 1 year later with the Note 9. Still a very good option, especially considering the prices you can get these things for now at under $600 from most places. So let me know your thoughts on the Note 9. Are you upgrading? And if you're upgrading, it's probably just because you love upgrading, you love tech and things like that. If you're upgrading, let me know down below. If you're going to get a Note 9 and you have some questions, let us know. The community will help you out. There's plenty of Note 9 users that watch the channel. And lastly, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, be sure to be subscribed to see some comparison videos between this and the Note 10, as well as other phones and the Galaxy Note 10. Thank you very much for watching. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.